this is the thing with Davos. You never know what happened, and you never know what you can find. And we have found some of the best there, certainly, in very short time, that we know each other very well from advance, so it's not out of the blue, actually. But anyway, thank you guys for coming. We're going to discuss RWA, real-world asset in some matter. And that's a topic that can be discussed in lots of different angles in terms of what you can tokenize and put on-chain or off-chain, and how it to be dealt with. We were supposed to also have Thomas Negle here. He was unfortunately also caught up in trafficking, couldn't get in because there's a legal element to it. So me being a lawyer, I will try to step in and cover that side. But rather on the core side from the RWA, I think we will start with you, Sasha, and please make an introduction to yourself and what you are doing within this landscape of RWA, or how we will see it.
Sure, thanks a lot. Hey, I'm Sasha. I'm leading BD at oneinch. So oneinch is mostly stepping in the DeFi world. So we are leading aggregator for the DeFi and access. Also, we're providing the gateway with the oneinch wallet. And what basically oneinch is and how oneinch is connected to RWA is that recently, last year, we announced that we also wanted to step into the compliance world. And we announced that we are working on the fully compliant product, which is oneinch.com. And basically, the tokenization of the real-world assets will bring us the liquidity and may also attract the attention of the basically institutions. So we think that this year, especially after the news that happened in Dubai, Mantra collaborating with Damak, and basically will tokenize this 1 billion world real estate world of Damak. I believe the next news is just around the corner. And then also Trump is now here, and he is one of the, I believe, I know that his family is one of the investors to this Demac company. So I believe that this bull market and this market cycle will be also about the tokenization of real world assets. And oneinch is here to basically provide the infrastructure for trade. Yeah, thanks.
So good afternoon. I don't know which part of the world I am in anymore. So I just got roped in, and it's kind of funny. I am doing something in the real world asset, but it's more in agriculture. And really what I did before my first project was around the tokenization of the mango value chain in Haiti with the World Bank, bringing in blended financing and allowing longer participation for the product by the farmer. But what I realized is the smallholder farmer does not have enough power. So how do we remove unnecessary intermediaries? Is by bringing in proper financing, and that involves a certain amount of compliance. So really being able to get everyone which is participating to have accountability, and then to take that asset, which is the mango, going across, and as it goes further, the value goes up. So we've now shifted to where we're looking to work in the compliance, working with banks, insurance, and government to start being able to give what we don't realize because we're sitting in Europe or in America is the pricing is usually not based on the real market of the locality. And so if you can now start being able to bring in those compliance tools, you can have that asset which we need because we need to eat, and then have a real value, and that is tokenization. We can do other things with it later on in terms of bringing to the retail market, but we do know the collateralization is something that the banks want to do.
Yeah, so for our side, we have like accelerator. We basically connect companies with investors and partnerships, and we have a bunch of different RWA companies that we help with raising and partnerships. Also talking to companies outside Web3 regarding tokenizing assets. So on that front, that's my side of direction, that I'm actually handling RWA companies and helping them to get the right direction and the right partnerships together with bigger enterprises outside and inside Web3.
All right. I'm Kurt Nielsen. I'm one of the co-founder of Patricia Blockchain, one of the sponsors of the event. It's a blockchain on layer 1 that is very suited for real-world assets, and it is because it's actually an infrastructure that solves sort of the three basic components for digital infrastructure that you need to work with supply chains and real-world assets. So that is handling confidential information, privacy. It's about integrity, which comes from the blockchain. And then it's about being able to do some jurisdiction management to be able to comply with different types of regulation in different jurisdictions and do that without compromising on global collaborations. I'll talk more about that later.
And I also now noticed that Oliver was in the crowd here on the first row, and he's definitely within the real world asset area. So that's why I also welcomed Oliver up here. Yeah. So I'm just trying now to do a live update on the screen here, so you'll get the right names there. So just pardon me for a second while I'm multitasking a little. But okay. Gentlemen, you are all up now, I think. So we're working on it. So I'll get Oliver up as well. But the word is yours, Oliver.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Magnus. I take the seat of Thomas here. And bring in the, let's say, the entrepreneurial aspect, because I run Advantum Ventures out of Berlin, and part of that is a token economy venture studio entitled Inc., which I initiated in 2017. We did a number of ventures in that space, and personally I'm focusing on the whole world of token economy sustainability since about 2-3 years. It started with the carbon credit tokenization topics, real world asset emerging market, I would say, sorry about this. And most recently, over the last 2-3 years, I'm focusing on actually on tokenizing bonds and securities to channel money into green tech. For instance, synthetic fuels, for instance, climate positive concrete, where we aggregate smaller tickets to put it into a company. In this, I can mention the company. It's Beton Group, climate positive concrete. So we aggregated that, and they opened a factory south of Hamburg, and they are going to scale that market. And this is where maybe I continue and make that point, where I think that tokenization can really make a difference beyond what we have seen so far in the Web3 world, in terms of impact in the real economy, I would say, and the traditional economy, and where we move, let's say, beyond the pure digital space.
Thank you for all of that. I'm still multitasking, so you have currently a beautiful picture of a woman there, Oliver. So I'll get you updated. But on the other side, we clearly hear about the use cases, and I think we all sort of seeing make a logic sense towards it, rather than Trump issuing a meme coin and that is mooning and going up and down and being volatile. Here we have some tangible assets behind. That's a logic sense for even though how much or little you know about blockchain or crypto landscape in general. So the use cases are clear, but still we have heard talks about this one for many years. So I think it would be also interesting for the audience to hear a little about, clearly, where are we currently with this one de facto? Where is the landscape standing? How difficult is it to actually do the market penetration towards this one and get it out there? Because there are de facto, call it infrastructure challenges that some of you are playing a key role to bring forward in general. So I think it would be interesting for the audience to hear a little what's your stand about where the RWA market is and how what is needed and how do we need to do different things in order to do progress to get it fully out in the market to scale it further.
Hate the meme coin, but it has opened the eyes of people who would never have touched it about it. So we're back, I think we're sort of living a 2018 moment again in the blockchain world, where it was token, and then we saw use cases which were really touching the real world. So I did my agreed thing. But part of what we didn't do is we tried to fix one part of the problem, we didn't look at the whole ecosystem. We talked about creating value chains, and that's what we need to be doing with. So now with the real world asset, we're really looking at the value chain of the asset and how it's going to be used and by everyone. And I think that, yesterday I was at a place where they asked, what do you want to have in 20 years? We shouldn't be talking about the technology. We should be talking about what is happening. And I think that's the beauty about it. Now we're going back into real estate and people are saying, oh, okay, this is a way I can bring in liquidity. But the fundamental challenge that we have is that there's a lot of technologists and not enough business people. So we need them playing in the meme coin so that we can actually see them coming into the space.
Maybe I can say something as well. So I have like three different perspectives on it. So we have on the one side, we have the meme coin side of things. So of course, people can see it as they want. But I just saw the statistics about it around don't get me wrong if it's not accurate anymore, but around 600,000 to 700,000 people owning the token. And just to think about something that maybe happen, maybe don't, is actually Trump doing something to attach the people that have the token to do something with it, actually like RWA, what it stands for. And that can be very interesting to basically onboard and engage those people that went into a coin the first time. So that's the one thing. The other thing is I'm also part of I don't know if you guys know Pudgy Penguins and what they do with their plushies. And this is actually something that is also very interesting because they sell plushies to normal people, and they can scan the QR code on the certificate that they get with the plushies and actually get something out of it as a soulbound token. They can play games. The little kids that don't know anything about NFTs or whatever, they actually just play the game and are happy about it and have a new way of engaging with the whole community. And that's something that is actually very important. And the third thing is that I also for example, we also talk with one of the biggest diamond producers and diamond distributors, also talking about, hey, there could be ways of actually attaching the real diamonds with tokens and actually go further with that direction. So there are kind of three different ways that are completely in a different direction, but can actually attribute a lot into the whole system of tokenizing real-world assets.
Absolutely. And just before I let you continue, we also do not only have real-world assets, we have real-world people who made it now due to traffic. So since you were originally on, I'll pass the word for you to make a brief introduction, and just so you are aligned where we are talking about sort of what's the need to bring real-world assets to go further forward in the market. So that's what we are discussing right now. So.
Exactly, and thank you for waiting. I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for invitation. I'm here in my capacity of representative of International Federation of Economic Development, with several different other layers that we have established to bring tokenization to the market. Beyond others, IFAD Bank, Bridgemount Sustainable Social Impact Umbrella Fund in Luxembourg, Bridge 10X company and asset management platform in Frankfurt, that establishing regulated real-world asset tokenization. That is my special issue that I would like to empathize you with today. This RWA, regulated real-world asset tokenization, and also the blue zone economy that we are establishing. And today we understand that it's nothing that could not be tokenized. Because everyone just spoke about real estate. No, you could tokenize everything, including intellectual property, including any type of your rights, especially with the introduction of EVPG. Elektronische Wertpapiergesetz in Germany, we are able to tokenize not only debt but also equity. That brings us to the next level of acceptance also for institutional investors and also for governance. And this is what is extremely important right now, I think, to empathize and to bring these assets to the next level of the development, making it secure investments for everyone.
May I directly add and link it, connect it to the question you had earlier, what are the challenges? We at greenbase.io, we also tackle exactly or struggle with these challenges, which is tokenizing green bonds, tokenizing equity for green tech companies, for instance. And the challenges here are obviously that the institutional investors or family offices, for instance, they are hesitant to invest in these assets because they don't really trust it. They don't see the need. They directly invest sometimes. There's no secondary market yet, so you need the market makers in here. These are the real challenges that we are facing. Theoretically, it brings liquidity to venture investment, yeah, but you also need to have a good asset, a good underlying, basically, yeah. If you tokenize something that's not valuable, you won't generate a market around it, yeah. That's very clear.
Absolutely. If you allow that, I just, is it around that everyone just saying? Because it's exactly, thank you for bringing this to the point, because it's exactly our solution. It's exactly why we are establishing this blue zone ecosystem, how we name it, having IFED, International Federation for Economic Development, in place that brings tokenization and bridges governments, authorities, with investors, especially with institutional investors, and using Bridge Mount Sustainability Social Impact Fund in Luxembourg under regulation, we are able to get access directly to institutional investors and win this credibility for them. You are absolutely right, speaking about valuable assets for the market. It's very important at market valuation. For that, there are already solutions in place. We are in the process to use these solutions as well. And we are in the process to access using ISIN number registration, because having an ISIN number registration for token, you became bankable asset with higher liquidity, with higher security, complying with all AML and KYC restrictions, because I'm a previous banker, I'm financial expert in my first life. That's why I used to work 25 plus years. I don't look so old, but I used to work 25 years plus at several banks, at least at UBS, in my capacity for ultra high net worth clients, and I have done a lot of transaction in IB area, bank-to-bank area, etc. That's why we have established exactly this solution, to make it bankable, to make it secure, to make it liquid, and to establish this asset as a real financial asset on the financial market. We are bridging centralized finance with decentralized finance, traditional finance with new tokenization.
But that's also a very relevant question in the totality of this one, in terms of platforms and the infrastructure from the, call it, the centralized side to the DeFi side. I see, Kurt, you were eager to comment?
Yes, I will happy to comment on that. So I think there's a lot more happening than what we see. So one thing is trading of assets, and we can have fractional ownership, and we can have more liquidity in markets. So that's one part of this. This is what we really see. But we also see that, I think we see that's what the people that we are speaking to, some of very large companies, but they are not public about what they're doing, but they are now considering the Web3 as an ecosystem, as a way, as a trust channel to work with part of the supply chain, so the end users. And if that becomes a common trend, then you have then the real world assets become a lot more than just trading a few large assets in fractions. It's become something where you actually connect things and people, so you need to have some basic components in place for this to happen, and that is coming. DID, ID of people, ID of things. Then you need to have real money in, stablecoin, we have that. And then you also need to bring in data, and with connecting people and things, bringing in data around that, you get hold on some of the most valuable things in the supply chain, and building on that, you can go into the automobile industry as an example. You can go in there and work with data, and if you have confidential computing in there, you can actually do that in a proper way, compliant way, to get that tailored information about the vehicle and the person, the transportation, and you can realize some of these visions for the automobile industry as one example. So I think a lot more is happening under the hood, so to speak.
Yeah, I would also add on the DGN / builder side on where we actually on right now in the market, because right now we see builders who and basically projects who try to tokenize different assets. I like your example with Mango. There is a real world assets tokenization, which is obvious. On the other side, we also have less than 10% of the people on the global world who basically own at least one crypto. Meaning that the thing that we are missing right now is maybe also a part where we will educate why actually they need to tokenize. On the other side, there are users who will be able to get on the market. There is institutions who can trade on this market. And there is like billions of assets that hasn't been tokenized yet. And they have no clue basically why they need to tokenize their watches, their horses, their brilliants, diamonds. And this is where like my personal goal, I would say, to basically show them what this basically beautiful decentralized world bring to them. So I believe like we are on the stage where we all who are here in crypto, like at least on my side, to basically show them the beauty of this, what is the basically additional liquidity. And on the side note, they also have to be sure that everything is compliant, because it's not maybe my part, Magnus, you can comment on anyone here who on the basically compliance side can comment, but yes, we can tokenize billions of assets, like launch Trump coin, get our profit, and then like what else? Those who haven't been educated properly will just lose their money, or maybe they at some point invest all their money and then will not understand what is the value behind. So I really think that the most important thing is to educate what is the value of tokenization, and also let people know why they are doing and what is the strategy on using this.
And I think it's call it a mix between the two genres of the landscape here, because you have call it the blockchain crypto native people who uses or are native with call it decentralized solutions, and they clearly are capable of handling it in terms of storing it and transferring it and dealing with it. However, they tend to not care that much about, call it, tax elements. And that's also why we were supposed to have Thomas Negle here as a lawyer in some matter. I am that as well, so I can perfectly well cover in. And I've been working with real-world assets since 2015. Everything from tokenizing tree farms in Africa towards solar panels, towards real estate building, to hotels, to whatnot. And actually all of these projects has failed up until now because, or has not failed directly, but has not been carried out just due to tax reasons and the complexity level of saying, hey, you are linked towards a certain asset or a real estate project, but you also, if you have a gain on that token and that raises in value, you have to pay in Norway, for example, 22% capital gains tax. And then I ask, show me a real estate project where you have a 22% margin. And that's sort of saying where things fail a little. So it's also, I think, in terms of, it would be interesting to hear from you of what we need from the government side of standards in order, because it's clearly a use case to do this one. It's a benefit that we clearly see from all sorts of angles here, but still we see the, call it the classification regulatory hurdles that will put it also back a little compared to getting it out to mass markets.
Can I actually bring what I think is another challenge? We're registering something, but we're not tracking. And if we are tracking, a lot of those projects are not tracking it on chain. So it's actually then, in a way, the failure of the technology itself. The maturity is not there to be able to have all data. So you have the degen saying, oh, you don't need the data, I have my token. But how can you tell that there is a problem to your asset? How?
And I think you read my thoughts there, because what I was also building up on the next one, and we can just continue on that one, all free to answer, but that's down to how I see it, at least, that you have so many other legal requirements coming up from the ESG side, digital product passporting side, where you have to, like you say, prove the source of origin where things come in from, like whether or not it's raw materials for buildings, to clothing, to food, to whatever. And when you need to prove something, the blockchain technology is perfect to do it. So that's also where I see this one in the process of that one. So you are on different angles in, call it the value chain of this one, but in totality we need to connect all these things together. So that's a very valid point in some other. So I'll pass the word for you to comment.
So regarding like the whole regulation direction, one of the problems that we had with the diamond company was that they actually they started like basically asking all the clients, all the people, all the shareholders and whatever, asking like, hey, would it be an interesting direction to go to? What do you think about it? And then actually the legal team came back saying, hey, everything with crypto like looks nice. It's also like in a right direction, in the sense of the whole space going in that direction, but still diamonds doesn't have that much of a good like reputation when we think about it, and there are a lot of like bad sides on the diamond side, especially when it comes to diamond producing and diamond distribution. They had a bad past. So with all the crypto side having not that kind of like a good reputation as well, it was one of the problems. The other problem was that actually, for example, we were also talking about like paying diamonds in crypto or kind of like that direction, and that was also one of the regulated things, saying, hey, you can only pay with fiat. And so in order to make sure that the diamond industry can be onboarded in the whole space, there needs to be like those regulations that needs to be changed in order to actually accept one of those directions.
We're more than happy to open up for questions from the audience. Yes.
So, yeah, I just want to jump onto that. So we are Diamonds. We are a diamond tokenization project. We exist since 3 years. And just to jump in a few stuff that you said, I agree there is this blood diamond image of the diamond, which, thanks to the movie of DiCaprio, was true in 2003. I think we are in a total different world today. We implemented traceability of every asset.
Nice.
So we know where's the origin of the asset, we know where it comes from. It's not from Russian origin because it doesn't enter the G7 countries and so on. Exactly. And I invite you and you all to come to the platform, and happy to discuss about how we are doing things in an NFT fully compliant way, working with physical validators in Liechtenstein.
Can I ask a question there? What's the difference between that and Everledger? Because I think that what happens is I keep hearing about these new projects, but Everledger in 2015 did the digitization of the diamond. So it would be good to sort of talk about what didn't she do and what are the differences and how we're improving it.
So there's a huge difference. First of all, Everledger, I speak for myself. I'm not sure they're still there, first of all. And secondly, they only do traceability of assets. We have a regulated marketplace where you can trade, own, exchange your assets easily and seamlessly without the need to ship or to pay taxes for your assets.
So regarding this for a second, so basically, are you more on the distribution side, or in what direction are you like?
We do the full cycle, so from purchasing from mining companies to the finger, so to whoever wants to redeem the asset at the end.
We need to have a talk then after.
Exactly. It would be my suggestion. I'm very sorry for interruption. No. But just my suggestion would be, let's come to real-world assets that is important for every single individual, like health and education. And that is what we are establishing. We are bridging all ESG projects with tokenization. We are leveraging them, building sustainable blue zone ecosystem with a sustainable academy, teaching everyone for self-sufficient organization. We including longevity club and longevity DAO in this system, using voting tokens, utility token, where everyone could just use and implement those utility tokens for their own health, and immediately using those tokens, invest in their own health, with an immediate result visible within 30 days. We could use it for education of people. We could use it in building of resorts and sustainable communities with a security token, but also bringing it as using regulation under the ISIN number to the fund under regulation and also to green bond. So it means we could tokenize reforestation projects, we could tokenize electricity, we could tokenize wireless energy. That's what we are doing right now. We are tokenizing resorts. We are tokenizing IP rights for health technologies and others. We are tokenizing waste to energy technologies, etc. So the usage for tokens is huge, and I'm really empathizing everyone. If either you are in startup area, either you are a developer of any technology or entrepreneur or policymaker, join this area to bring it on the next level.
Indeed. We had one more question here that we have time for.
Hi, I'm Alex Bumbo from the Partisia Blockchain Foundation, working along with our president, Kurt Nielsen. I had a couple questions with regards to the applications for industries like healthcare, and that is that I wanted to ask a little bit more with regards to, with so much sensitive data surrounding the healthcare, right? How do you keep people's data secure while still getting insights from it?
This is one of the very important issues that has been already emphasized many times. Health data security is the most of the critical issue worldwide. That's why we have an extra team with 100 security IT specialists, 150 blockchain specialists who are working exactly on finding those solutions. We are using zero snark protocols and several additional protocols that we are developing at the moment. I'm not allowed to give those some of the names because it's just we will just jump it on the market shortly. But I absolutely agree with you. This is the number one issue. And as we all in the health care area will use digital health and digital health applications, this is a solution should be found. We are working on it. We know many participants on this market who are doing the same. And important is, I think, exactly to make it more sufficient between patient. Exactly, I think it's not about any patients. Every single person has health data and has the right to secure his health data. Also with transferring this data to his doctor, but also to any other relative parts on the market, on his environment.
One more question.
Did I answer your question?
You did, yes. Thank you.
When we know that tokenization will happen, so the key question is how we'll tokenize, how we'll create a quality token, how we will provide to the investor that the asset that the token is representing really exists. So which is the process or which is the proof of existence that you are working on in order to secure the investor that the asset really exists, and when they go to a secondary market, they are buying something that really exists.
Yeah, maybe I can give a first shot at this. So this is really important and good question. So you have a physical world and digital world. You need to connect the two. That's easier for something than others. Maybe if you have a diamond, you might be able to with a mathematical expression, tell all the facets on the diamond, or you might be, if it's a digital product, you can definitely trace that. But if it's something like real estate, you need to find a way to connect that and work with institutions around it. So I don't think we are solving everything. We need to connect, match, or work with the existing organizations around the real world. I mean, and bring that into this digital trace, and then utilize the Web3 technologies to improve the trading and the access to data and all of that.
Indeed. We have one last... I know we have lots of questions, but we still only have 1 minute left. And there was one guy who has been handed a microphone. That's unfortunately the last questions, but you will allow to talk to all the panelists afterwards.
Right, thank you, Morgan. Thank you, everyone. I believe there are a number of different tokens for different purposes, transmission, real-world assets, etc. And I'd like to build on the question you just asked, perhaps to Genevieve with your experience. I have an NGO called SME Planet, and we work with SMEs in lower middle-income countries to enable financing. Their banks reach ceilings very quickly in what they can lend in specific sectors, so we're looking for options to expand the financing. Yes, we should talk later, thank you. But also a question to our legal team here. At what point does the real-world asset, the avocado or the mango, if you like, at what point what information do you need, what records do you need to present in order to class that as a real-world asset ready for tokenization?
30-second answer.
I think that in reality, this is why it's an open question. I was lucky I got to work with the government and also the World Bank. And the purpose was really looking at blended financing. And at the end of the day, you then were working with governments which were saying, these are the phytosanitary, all that information. So what we have to realize, 100 mangoes coming off the tree doesn't mean 100 mango make it to market. But those 10 mangoes to make it to market have 20x value. And how do you then prove that information? So that's why you start having to work where you're de-risking each part of the value chain. But what I found was the inverse has to happen, in that you have to give value to the company which is buying it. And this is where I've been learning about the carbon market. I'm not trying to sell them carbon credit. We know that they're going to be created. But if they know exactly where it came from, then they don't have to buy the carbon credit to mitigate their carbon footprint. And at the beginning, give them a percentage of that avoidance, and that helps them move.
Thank you, and thanks for the questions. And I can see there's lots more, so I'm sure you can grab all of these fantastic panelists. So thank you for great questions. Thank you for all the amazing panelists. Give them a warm round of applause. We have now an amazing panel coming up on stable coins, so feel free to join that one starting in 3-4 minutes. Stretch your legs and do whatever you would like to and grab something to drink. And please come in again and join us there. Thank you.